Hello, sports fans. This is Football Psyche. I'm Coach Mike.
And this is Lord Sarge.
All right, everybody. Tell us what we're going to do today, Lord Sarge.
Well, we're going to talk about the status of preseason and what do we have in a new official station for the Commanders. What's the update on the kicker situation? Because there's a lot of news around that. And then what are the latest rumors and projections on the Commanders? And there's a lot.
And I tell you, I made a prediction on the kicker, and we're going to talk about that too.
You did, Coach Mad Mike. You did.
All right. So we all know the schedule. We won't rehash this again, but hey, listen, I know that everybody's waiting for the season to start. But our major news that we have is next week on Monday, we start
live
stream. So every last one of you who are watching this, tune in, make your comments in the comment section, get your fingers working, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments because we're going to talk about them here on the show, and we want to hear also your analysis and your questions. We want to get it all, so come and join us. All right, currently we are in the off season. We finished up last week. We finished up with volunteer OTAs, and this week, actually as of today, we started mandatory minicamp, which will go through this week, and then everybody gets some time off till July 27th. But we won't get time off because when mandatory minicamps are over, Large Sarge and I, we will still give you a Commanders Edition every week because we know there will still be things going on because it is never quiet.
Lots of news
around our team. Always news. Preseason schedule is out. You see that. And WUSA 9 is now the new official station of the Washington Commanders.
Going to be tuning in.
So they have a number of shows that they're doing. You can see that here. You guys can all stop this video and you guys can look over this and figure out what you want to attend, but this is the official one. All right. However, out of all those shows that are being done by WUSA 9, I'm going to tell you right now, the show that you want to watch is our show. And the reason why, because we're not tainted by the Washington Commanders.
Right.
When you listen to people like Fred Smoot, I love him, and Logan Paulson and Santana Moss, and everybody else that they have coming in there into their show, all these guys, you got to remember, they're paid by the Washington Commanders. So you're going to hear the Washington Commanders' perspective and a whole lot of hype because they're never going to talk down anything that the Washington Commanders are going to do because they know who writes their paycheck. So you want to watch those shows, but you also want to watch our shows because we'll give it to you real.
I love the fact, too, Coach Man Mike, they're bringing Dan Quinn in. I think it's only going to be during the home games because I don't think they're going to get him on the road at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. But it'll be interesting to hear Dan Quinn on Sunday mornings. I'm going to tune in for that.
Apparently, it's still going to happen on the road. So,
really?
Yeah.
Road?
Because they typically will fly a couple of days earlier just to kind of get acclimated and get situated and all that kind of stuff. And so he's available. He's got to get his butt out of bed in his hotel room and come on downstairs into the room that they're going to have him do it in, and they're going to interview him.
Woo.
So I think
Monday during preseason too, we're going to hear from Quinn. So this is going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good as well. Of course, you always get the post-game reports and stuff like that, but I like the fact that we're going to get some pre-game kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that's not on here is on Mondays, Coach Dan Quinn also said he'd make himself available for a Monday morning quarterback kind of situation where you kind of do hey, this is how the whole weekend went, and for there to be ask questions about it. Again, you're not giving me the opportunity to interview him because I would ask some really, really, really tough questions that maybe he might get some softballs thrown at him.
Coach Mad Mike, if we achieve our goal and we start our live cast and we get our subscribers up and we get what's going to happen? We're going to get you that chance to talk to Dan Quinn live. That's my prediction. That's going to happen.
All right, man. You got to make that happen for us because we need to make this happen. All right. Come on now.
Come
on. With the live stream, when you put questions in there, like the really hard questions in there, those are the ones I would want to ask them too. So let's do it as a community. Let's do it as a team. All right. Let's do it.
Softball questions. Coach Mad Mike's going to dig in the dirt with Dan Quinn.
The big drama. We talked to you last week. We told you about our kicker who got released off of sexual harassment charges. And I made a prediction. That we should go after UFL kicker and that we should go after Jake Bates
You said that 3 weeks ago, Coach Man. Like 3 weeks ago, you called
Well,
that.
I will tell you, I've got a clip of when I made those comments. You guys ready?
Do.
Well, we do. Let's see it right here.
Yeah, let's watch this. Whoever Coach Mad Mike picks will be the kicker for the Commanders/Redskins. You know what we need?
Joey Slye, he swapped places with McManus. Joey Slye signed to Jacksonville.
Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to follow what Dallas did. We need to get us a soccer player who can kick a damn ball 400 yards. That's what we need. Some young buck soccer player who thinks he can make it in the NFL.
So the leading kicker of the UFL in the offseason was a guy by the name of Jake Bates.
Yeah.
And Jake Bates, he was nailing like field goals from like way out, like just constantly nailing them. And I think he kicked, like I can't remember, but like he kicked like 263 yarders in a row or something like that. Or something crazy.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be in the league. He's easily gonna be in the league.
I would say, like, if you're looking for somebody, I would probably bring him in for a workout.
Get out of the comfort zone and go find someone who's got a leg.
A guy I would be interested in.
You know what, man? That's why he's mad.
Well, what's his name? And then not only that, right?
Other than McManus being released, you'd have think there'd have been a heck of a lot of news on who the Commanders are going to bring in, right?
They haven't. There's been no news. But here's another reason. Let me get back on the Jake Bates bandwagon for a second. The other thing I like about UFL players is they're already used to doing the kickoffs.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Kickoffs are from that league. So,
coach.
So again, if I'm looking for a guy, I want a guy who can seriously kick field goals, but I want a guy who is already familiar with this kickoff rule
in the system,
with the rules. Yeah,
with the rules.
Unbelievable.
So I said that, and I predicted that before. And the big thing about this is we signed a kicker. We signed kicker Ramiz Ahmed, who is from the UFL also, but he wasn't. So I did call that part, but it wasn't Jake Bates. Well, there is a reason behind that. It's because Jake Bates was part of the Michigan Panthers, and the Michigan Panthers were in the playoffs in the UFL. And so until that game happened between the Michigan Panthers and the Birmingham Stallions, which happened this past Saturday, he was ineligible to sign with anybody. And we needed somebody last week to participate in the end of OTAs because we didn't have anybody. So we signed this guy. It doesn't mean, I want to say it right now, it does not mean that we are out of the running for Jake Bates because now he's available. Large Sarge, he is visiting 4 teams. What 4 teams is he visiting?
Packers, Commanders, Lions, Ravens.
That's right. And I know that he visited with the Lions already. He is currently right now in Washington. I don't know if he's seeing Green Bay or the Ravens yet, but he's going to visit all 4 before making his decision. So there is still a real possibility that the Washington Commanders could still end up with Jake Bates. And if we do, we're going to carry 2 kickers into training camp and let him compete. I think if we sign Jake Bates, he's going to be the kicker.
Mike, I don't know how you called this so early. I have no idea how you read those tea leaves, but I have a theory. And I think I'm right. You got magic glasses.
I got magic glasses?
You got magic glasses. That's the only way you could do this. I have no idea how you figured that out, but you did weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got magic glasses.
I can tell you there's some things I just kind of know how the NFL works, and I know what I would do if I was a general manager, and I know what I would do if I was part of a coaching staff, right? So, like, for me, I know Shaq was reading through free agents. I kind of knew that we weren't going to go the free agency route. Although you would think that that's typically where you would look. I just kind of felt like with the way that the NFL is changing right now with the new kickoff rules and the new UFL coming on, like it was just, to me, it was like a no-brainer. Like we were going to go this route. So
you were smart about that, especially since they have experience in the new kickoff system. I mean, you couldn't have called that better if you tried. Yeah.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Coach Mad Mike, wait a minute. So we have Ahmed. We signed him, right?
We did. We signed him, yeah.
So let's just say Bates goes to the Lions, the Pack, or the Ravens instead. He likes the deal better there. What does that mean for Ahmed? We keep him or?
Yeah, we keep him. Because I think right now it doesn't mean that we won't still sign another kicker because
and let him compete.
Ahmed, even though he has a little bit of NFL experience, he played with the Packers before. He's played with some other teams before. You can see in the photo that he's in a Packers uniform, right? He has a little bit of experience. He never really just kind of stuck with any team. But I would find it hard to believe that Dan Quinn wouldn't bring somebody in to compete with him.
Right.
Just
so,
because.
And the buzz about Bates is his length of his field goals, right? Didn't he kick like something over 60? Tell me what's the appeal on Bates, Coach Mad Mike?
So he had a game-winning field goal that was 64 yards and set a UFL record, which 64? Is the old NFL record. Which is the old 64? NFL record. Yes. It was the old NFL record for like the longest time until someone kicked a 67-yarder. So he basically tied the old NFL record, and he did it on a game-winning field goal.
That's going to get the attention of a lot of teams.
Not only that, but Bates kicked a couple other ones that are 60-plus yards, and he was phenomenal. And the fact that he had all this experience in the UFL with these kickoff rules, which is why he's a hot commodity right now.
That makes a lot of sense, Coach Mad Mike. Good, again, great call.
There's a lot of NFL. I'll say this: there are a lot of NFL kickers that cannot kick a 60-plus yard field
goal. So what do you think is going to take to nail this guy? Is it a money deal? Is it a length of contract deal? Is it a combo of both? I think
there's a little bit of a bidding war. If you're a smart agent,
has a favorite team.
I don't know what his favorite team is, but when you have 4 teams that are interested and you have a smart agent, your agent's going to put them in a bidding war.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then of course you make all your visits, and then you ask your client. You asked Jake Bates. Which one did you like? Did you have a favorite? If he's agnostic, then you go with the highest bidder. But sometimes a player will tell you, I feel more comfortable with this particular team. I haven't seen any news whether or not he has a favorite team or not. So I don't know.
The Commanders still have a lot of money on the table, don't they, in cap room?
We do. We have over $43 million of cap space.
Do we or do we not have more than the Lions or the Ravens or the Pack?
We have the second most available cap space in the NFL.
Behind who?
Behind the Patriots.
So we can come to the table with the most dollars. This looks like it could be a deal.
Yeah. We're not going to throw some stupid money at them.
But if it's $10K over everyone else,
But it might be a silent auction. It might be the agent playing tricks. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes.
All right, Coach Mad Mike, I'm asking you for a prediction. I want another prediction with them secret magic glasses you got. Out of 4 teams, what's the Commanders' percentage that you think that they'll get this guy?
25%.
Only 25.
Yeah, because there's 4 teams.
You think? But we got the most money. We got a new new vibe in town. We got a new vibe.
Yeah, I got all that, but when there's 4 teams, I think all of us have 25% chance to sign this guy. It's going to be depending on. This is going to come down to what does Jake Bates want. I really think so. I don't think it's going to be that much about money because they're all going to come in pretty above average for a rookie deal or for a initial deal. Like it would probably be under $1 million, but if they get into a billion. If they get into a bidding war, it could be around $1 million for a year. He's probably going to sign a 1-year contract wherever he goes.
Okay, so 1 year you're calling under $1 million. All right, Coach Madback, I'm going to take
under $1 million. I would say the cap would be $1 million.
I'm going to take a lesson from you. I'm putting on my own magic glasses right here.
Oh my goodness, you got magic.
Here's what I'm telling you: lines are out. Why? Because Badgley's doing better than they thought. Even though they don't like him, he's doing better than they thought.
Badgley's a great hitter.
And the Packers don't have the money. I'm calling this guy goes to the Commanders for exactly what you said, a 1 year, $1 million max deal. I believe in you, Coach Mad Mike. And the magic glasses did the talking. Coach Mad Mike did the walking.
All right. So we want to hear from what's happening in the teams now that OTAs is wrapped up. We had a chance to listen to a lot of things. I came across Andrew Wiley, who's just ecstatic. He's been with the team for a number of years now, and he just loves the energy that he felt that's in the locker room right now, which is not what we've had in Washington for a while. So let's play this.
The new coaching staff, kind of new energy. What's been your biggest takeaway so far over the last couple of months of just acclimating yourself to the new regime?
Yeah, we have an elite coaching staff. That's what it's been. It's been great energy in the building. Points of emphasis, what DQ wants are, reiterated every day.
It's early. What are your early takeaways of the rookie quarterback, Jaden?
The dude can sling it, man. Very talented guy back there. Makes it look easy, too. So, I don't know. Something about his game is just special.
How about the other rookie, Brandon Coleman? What have you seen from him, and how have you tried to maybe help him acclimate himself to life in the NFL?
That dude is gifted, and he moves very well for his size. And got him working out at tackle now, and, he's already got very good fundamentals about him to his game. And, he will definitely, in my opinion, I think he's going to get a lot of snaps this year. He's the type of guy that you want anchoring the side of the ball for sure.
Again, it's so early, but what are the subtle changes in terms of energy vibe just inside the locker room that you've noticed from last year to this year?
Yeah, honestly, the locker room energy is great. Practice has been over, for an hour and 15 minutes, and, the locker room's still halfway filled, you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of guys still kicking it in there, including myself. No one's in a real rush to leave work, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a weird thing. We got a ping pong table in there now, so a couple tournaments set up. Got some cornhole boards and everything, too. We got the music going, but honestly, in the locker room, we're sitting by different guys now. We're not necessarily in our position group, so a lot of things have changed, and it's just good vibes in there.
Those little things like that, the ping pong table, the cornhole, what does that do for a team, for a locker room?
It just gets you talking to new people. You know what I mean? You're meeting your teammates. And you're just having fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting next to a D lineman in a corner. And, great guys. We chop it up every day. Not guys I would normally talk to every day like that. So go grab a couple games of ping pong, talk to some new people, get to know your teammates. And, I think that's DQ's plan, and it's working well.
Okay, Coach Man Mike. Wait a minute. I got to understand. I'm a fan. All right, I'm a fan. But you got to put a ping pong table and cornhole in your locker room so that your players will talk to each other. They don't spend time in video in their facilities at Chow.
So for those of you who've played football before, who's actually been around things before, it's very cliquish on a football team.
Right.
When you are a running back, let's take a running back for example. You basically are hanging out with the running backs because that's what you go to film room with. That's who you spend every day with. That's who you eat with. That's who you do everything with. So it's not uncommon for a running back not to really know who the DBs are.
What?
Like you know of them, but you're not hanging out with them, and you don't really spend a lot of time getting to know them. And
but you're hanging out with the offense, with your linemen.
Maybe if you're a running back, you're spending a little bit of time with your line because you're reaching out to them and you're trying to do some things. And there is some discussions on that because
defense.
The quarterbacks definitely spend time with the linemen. Running backs definitely spend time with linemen. Receivers maybe not so much.
The cornhole.
But you heard him say, he spent time with a defensive lineman and a corner. That's uncommon for an offensive lineman.
Wow. Coach Mike, I did not know that. I thought you was a team. You're in the gym together in the morning. You are pushing weights in the morning. Everyone's together, but maybe that's not how it works.
No, it's not really like that. the gym's big. Wow. So they might be on the other side of the gym, but it's not like your everyday buddy you're hanging out with. It's very cliquish. It's very cliquish again.
Interesting. Wow.
Because you really defensive linemen all stick together. Corners all stick together. Wide receivers, they all stick together.
They have
to. Right. So there is a little bit like wide receivers and corners, like they will kind of know each other because they're talking crap against each other because they're going up against each other in practice.
Right. Opposites attract.
But if you're a wide receiver, how often do you talk to a defensive lineman? Never.
I don't know. I ain't never been on a team, but clearly you got them magic glasses on again, and you know how it works inside the locker room, and I appreciate the knowledge.
Yeah, no, it just never really happened. So Joe Witt talking about the defensive line, good transition there, had his views on the starting lineup, and this is what he had to say about the defense because he was questioned. who is going to start? Who are the starters on defense? And this is what he had to say.
What's been your early impressions so far, just the players and how they're buying into what you guys are teaching and coaching?
Man, they've done a really nice job. Just the energy, the incitement of what we're doing, the way they're buying in, the way they're competing, it's fun, man. Both sides of the ball. It's just not looking at defense, both sides of the ball. Everybody out there is just really going after each other. And that's what it's supposed to be. That's the only way we're going to get better.
What are your early impressions on Emmanuel Forbes so far? What have you seen from him?
I've seen a young man that is every day getting better, getting used to my hard coaching. He's a kid that has a really good skill set, and just like the rest of the young guys,
work on them
he's
hips.
out there working his butt off, and I've been pleased with him.
Having a Bobby Wagner on your defense, how much do you actually lean on him to help with the little things, to be that leader on the defense?
A lot. I just told the defense, this is the vets' responsibility that the young guys are going at the speed of the vets. All right, if they have to make sure that happens. We're going to get them to understand what they have, but to play with the edge and the tenacity that we want, all right, they're in the locker room with them. And Bobby does
called
a
that
great
too,
job
Coach
of
Mad
that.
Mike.
And Bobby does a great job. But when I install something, and if I don't
was my
do it
X factor last
as
week.
clean as I should, he'll come and say, "Hey, Coach, maybe got you, Bobby. All right, go back in there and do it." And I respect that. I take coaching from my players. I did it in Dallas. I did it in Green Bay, wherever.
I like that.
That's the only way you get better. All right, so we're all trying to grow and get better. So I'm not trying to say, "Hey, I have all the answers." As a defensive staff, we're putting this together with the players. It's our defense. It ain't my defense. It ain't Coach Quinn. It's the Commander defense. All right, and we're going to get it done. So we take
I like that attitude. I love that attitude.
It's a phenomenal attitude. I knew nothing about Joe Witt at all prior to him coming to the Commanders.
Same here. Other than
when I did my research on him, I knew Dan Quinn had him in Atlanta and then took him with him to Dallas.
That's all
And
I
so,
know.
I knew that they had a relationship, but the more I listened to this guy speak, he's ready.
Yeah.
This guy is ready. And I told you that he was talking about the defensive lineup, stuff like that. That's actually this next video. So let's take a listen to that one real quick.
All right.
11 starters, okay? You're going to put this down, so don't ask me who's starting here. We have 17 to 18 guys. We're going to go out there. We're going to roll a deep crew and go out there and whip people, okay? So we don't have 11 guys. We have many personnel groups, and now can they own those positions when we put them in there? So when that comes, don't ask me about who's starting, please.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was asked.
Don't ask me.
Who's in starting lineup? He goes, I don't have 11 starters, man. I got about 18 I'm going to roll with.
Strategy.
We're going to be deep, man.
Nobody knows who we're going to start. We're going to use strategy.
Who's strategy?
I love him saying that, this is a Commander's defense. We're going to play this all together like that. I love that he's saying that. It's like, I'm not the know-all and be-all of defense. I'm taking input from guys who are pros, who've got experience in the league, and we're all working together. I love that. And you'll see this when we get to the NFC East video on Friday.
Yep.
That I am predicting the Commanders to do better this year. So
all right, I'm actually looking forward to what your analysis is on that. Because I haven't seen your slides yet, so I'm very much looking forward
right now.
All right. So, but anyway, we talked about this a few weeks ago when it comes to Joe Witt and Dan Quinn. And a lot of people kind of thought that they had them figured out in Atlanta. And when he went to Dallas, they ran a completely different system because he goes, we're not running the Falcons defense here. We're running Cowboys defense here. Mm-hmm. We're going to create our own defense. And that's what they did. And then he said the same thing. He goes, when I came to Washington, he goes, if you think that we're going to do what we did in Dallas, you're wrong. We're going to come up with our own Commanders defense.
Do you think that's
based off our own identity, based off of our own personnel, based off of what each player is good at, and we're going to develop our own system out of it?
Coach Mad Mike, are they running a 4-3 or 3-4 or a 4-5? What are they doing? What do you think?
I think that they're going to run a 4-2-5.
4-2-5. Okay, I see that. I see that with the personnel.
Because you're not going to have a situation where you're not going to have Dron Payne and Jonathan Allen not on the field at the same time.
Right.
You also have Johnny Newton you can rotate in the mix. You've got a couple edge rushers. They're even looking at Jamin Davis working a little bit on the outside off of there, which I think he's a little bit on the light side to do that, but they're going to try him out a little bit there too because – and that was a telling sign to me. when when they said that Jamin Davis was going to work at the end a little bit to get some playing time, that told me that they weren't going to run a 4-3.
Interesting.
Because the two linebackers that they're always going to have on the field is Bobby Wagner and Frankly LeVou.
Yeah,
So,
you'd think, right? You'd think, right?
So that means Jamin Davis is a rotate in at linebacker to give somebody a breather, or they're going to put him on the field in other places to try to give him some DN work. And so,
Good call, man, Mike.
And then when I also look at the linebackers, as soon as we got Sinistro, we drafted him. It just told me right off the gate that he was going to be that nickel kind of place, which is a very strong 4-2-5 kind of scenario, which is if you place him as a safety. I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago too. It's almost like a 3 safety defense. I mentioned that before. That's really out of a 4-2-5. So like I really think that that's what they're going to run. I could be wrong, but all signs right now are pointing to that.
Before we get to the NFC East later this week, how much improved do you think this defense will be over last year's defense, missing our phenomenal bookend tight ends? What do you think is going to happen this year? Will we be better? How many points will we allow a game?
That's hard to say as far as points per game, but like I will tell you that I'm still concerned about the defensive end situation, but like our major weakness last year was at linebacker. Now that we have Bobby Wagner and Frankly LeVou, I think we completely rebuilt our linebacker core, and it's solid.
Got it solid. You think we're 21 point or less, on average, 21 point or less defense?
Well, I think that's what all teams want, right?
Right.
I mean, like there's all teams, they want to hold teams to under 21 because it increases your probability of winning. So I think that's a goal for all 32 teams. But do I think that we're there? I think so. It just really depends on the defensive end situation. It's kind of like offense. Like, kind of depends on our left tackle situation. Like, how good are they really going to be? It depends on how the whole unit kind of stands up. And it really goes into, like, what happens in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
But in watching just 2 short videos like that and listening to you, Coach Mad Mike, seems like Joe Witt is the right guy for the job. Certainly better than Rivera.
Oh, my gosh. Ron Rivera, the head coach, was gone. Jack Del Rio, I kind of like Jack Del Rio a little bit.
Yeah, Del Rio was good. I don't mind Del Rio, but I like Witt's philosophy. I like how he talks.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely. I love his energy. He's definitely energy. So another thing that I found that was interesting, because you talked about numbers of wins, we talked about something like this. There's something called the Sports Info Solutions model. This is a model I heard about before. I've never really paid much attention to it. But I came across this week. I'm like, oh, great, another Sports Info Solutions model thing. Normally when I see this, I look at these things, I'm like, yeah, whatever, because I don't really like predictions. Most of them are wrong, right? It's kind of like mock drafts. They're usually blatantly, utterly wrong. And, well, I kind of hope this one's wrong too, because when they did their analysis of all 32 teams, they have the Washington Commanders coming in dead last with a projected 3.2 wins based off of their analytical model, which means we are the worst team in the NFL. And I'm sorry, but I find that extraordinarily hard to believe.
Other than the Panthers. So, Coach Mad Mike, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not giving any secrets, folks, for what's coming up in the next episode on Friday. But I'm going to tell you something.
We're not last.
On paper, the Commanders are not last. They're not 3.2 on paper.
Not last.
Now, in implementation and getting the kinks worked out, do I think they're better than 3.2 every day until Sunday? Maybe all day on Sunday. I think they're better than the Giants. I think they're better than Dallas. They should be, which puts them way over 3.2 games. So I disagree, just like you, Coach Mad Mike. I think that is crap.
So we had this conversation when we had what's her name on the show, Ivania, yeah. When we had her on the show, and I said I predicted this team to have 8 wins, and both of you guys squirmed a little bit and said 7, whatever, okay. But none of us said 3.
Nope.
None of us had 3. We were like kind of torn between 7 and 8.
I think in the division, Washington will get 3.2 wins in the division.
There you go. Yeah, and that's half of our games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, come on.
There's no reason we shouldn't win half of our division games. No reason.
I mean, I take this team and getting 8 wins. And I do agree that at least 3 of those wins should happen in the division. I can go with that.
Coach Mad Mike, what is sports info? I mean, how long have these guys been around?
They've been around for a long time. And they put together these models. They do a
And
lot of
are they as inaccurate as you proved?
You hear about a lot of these teams
analysis to be inaccurate when you blew the models off the map this year with your draft.
These guys got their claim to fame because they started putting together all the analytics that all teams talk about. You remember that you hear them talk about analytics all the time? Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
These are the guys. Are these the guys that put Dan Campbell in the position to say, "I'm not going to kick it. I'm going to go 4 on 4."
Yeah, because he's going by the analytics.
Guys?
Yeah. Like these are one of the contributing factors. I'm not saying that they're the only team, they're the only one, but they do provide analytics. And I'm like, nah.
They don't know crap about football.
Yeah. And I would
cannot analyze momentum. You cannot analyze camaraderie. You cannot analyze team spirit.
Yeah.
That's what Whit was talking about. Building.
We are not the same team as last year.
Not the same team at all.
I
would believe for last year. Yes. If it was last year's team, I wouldn't.
If there was no changes and it was Ron Rivera and we only won 4 games last year like we did, and to say we'd only win 3 this year, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I would go with that.
It's not bad analysis, right? Not bad. Totally different team, totally different mechanic going on. There's no way they come out with 3.
We have a new GM. We got new coaches. We got new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. We got new special teams guy. We got new everything. We got half this team is different players. Like these guys don't even know each other.
Right. Yeah, because they gotta play football and cornhole.
They gotta play cornhole to freaking get to know each other a little bit.
But at least they're doing that. If Coach Mike, if that's the way it works, and you say that's the way it works, the fact that they're doing that and providing that to the team so they can get out of their comfort zone and out of their little groups to meet to build relationships, I think that's a positive thing.
So that's
positive.
Another story I came across was an interview that occurred with Josh Harris, where he strongly believed that he was not going to win the bid for the Washington Commanders. He thought Jeff Bezos, we all know who he is. He's the guy of Amazon. That he's one of the wealthiest people in the world. He's up there in the top 5 along with Elon Musk and those other ones that are up there. Like he's got so much money. Like Jeff Bezos could have bought this team and outbidded Josh Harris easily.
Like that.
Like not even blink and going like, yeah, what you want to play
money from Bezos?
He goes, you want to pay $6 billion? That's chump change to me.
Make it 10 and call it a day. I got the team. Yeah, that's
yeah. He could have easily done that. And so like when Josh Harris actually found out about this, he struggled because he went down this road before with the Denver Broncos, and like he was very, very concerned that when Jeff Bezos entered the race that he wasn't going to get it, and so he questioned how much time he was going to spend into it. So anyway, here's his interview. Let's take a listen.
NBC CEO Council Summit in Washington, D.C. I spoke to 26 North founder Josh Harris. Nearly 1 year ago, he led the group that purchased the Washington Commanders in a record-setting $6+ billion deal. I asked him about the difference between running a firm versus running a sports team.
On business, the key is EBITDA, or stock price. In sports, it's about winning games and delivering championships for the cities. That's your first job. And then your second job is to create memories and to lead by example and steward these franchises.
I also asked him about that record deal and how he made it happen going up against Jeff Bezos in an auction for the asset.
When the Commanders were potentially for sale, I'd started 26 North, and I had moved on. My friend Mark Ian, who was sitting in the audience there, said, "Come on, Josh, let's look at the Commanders." And I said, "Come on, I'm not going to price the Commanders for Jeff Bezos. I've done this before, and we're going to spend a lot of time and get outbid." And that started a whole process of first Mark nagging me, introducing me to Mitch Rails. We created this incredible group, and ultimately went through a super complicated process, which I can go into, but basically it was one of the harder deals I've ever had to accomplish.
course, the big issue in the NFL now is whether it's going to consider letting private equity invest in sports teams. Given the size of Josh's deal, here's what he had to say about what may happen next in the NFL.
Created a little bit of a wake-up call at the NFL that unless you're one of the wealthiest, not wealthiest 400, the wealthiest 50 people, that, you know, writing a $5 billion equity check is pretty hard for anyone, and that the rules that exist in terms of putting together a group to buy an NFL team are restrictive. And so raising that amount of capital was unique. It had never been done before. And I think it may be leading to some rethink as to, you know, the consideration of, you know, letting private equity, as an example, or institutional investors into the NFL.
All right. So a lot of interesting stuff there about listening to him talking this one. It's, you know, when you're going up against somebody like Jeff Bezos, you don't have a shot. Like if Jeff Bezos really wanted the Washington Commanders, he'd be the owner right now.
Done. But Coach,
the
seriously,
guy's worth like $300 billion. For him to pull out $6 billion is not that far of a stretch.
Coach Mad Mike, walk with me for a second with your magic glasses. Just walk with me. I'm gonna put mine on to make sure I need to get a little magic from you. Walk with me. Jeff Bezos, or excuse me, Josh Harris is going to bed tonight, okay? And he's laying next to the wife. And he's like, $6 billion I spent. And sis only thinks I'm gonna get 3.2 games. If that is a true analytical analysis of what they have, that boy spent $6 billion to get 3.2 games. Let's just go.
It's worse than that.
It's a fail.
But listen, it's worse than that, because here are some of the other things that I'm hearing, right? Yeah. Like people are questioning, like, what did he buy for $6.05 billion? With a B, billion, right? Because if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, look at some of these teams, they own their stadium.
Right.
We don't own our stadium. We lease it. We lease FedEx Field. We don't own it.
Insanity.
The other thing is you walked into a place that had a very disenfranchised fan base and a very disenfranchised alumni group.
Yeah.
Because of the whole name change from the Washington Redskins.
Yep.
Held to the Redskins, and
with stuff
becoming a Washington Commander. This team is so like in disarray.
Yeah.
It's struggling for identity.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think that you bought?
$6 billion for a team with no identity and no stadium. Unbelievable. If
and a fan base
not get 8 or 9 wins this year, it's done.
Yeah, and a fan base that hates your logo and hates your name and hates everything pretty much that's happened over the past 25 plus years.
This is do or die for him.
You know, and he didn't have the money.
Right.
You heard that last part. He had to put his equity firm part together and pull in pieces. He had a lot of minority owners. He did not have the money. He spent every penny that he had on this team, and he still needed a whole lot more. So he's a majority owner. He's a majority owner. But he had to struggle, right? Like Jeff Bezos could have like flicked him off like a burger and took over this team. Like,
and if it lost for the next 10 years, it wouldn't matter to Bezos. He's got that much money, right? This guy's got everything. He went all in. So you know what? A guy with brass balls that big and with a pin on his lapel like this right here, he's got a W, not a Redskin, but anyway, he's got the lapel. A guy that's got brass balls that big that goes all in for that kind of money. There's no way they get 3.2 games. Sis has got it wrong. They're going up this year. They have to.
I think Josh Harris did not even have $4 billion when he bought this.
He had to pull other people in to get the rest. Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't have the money.
And you know, the funny thing is just the thought of Bezos being in the mix drove the price up. That alone.
Yeah, probably.
FOMO. They got FOMO, fear of missing out. Drove that price.
Probably. Because the previous sale of a team was $4.5 billion, which was the Denver Broncos, who he also was in that bidding war and lost to the family who won that one out on, because he didn't have the 4.5. Right. he had a little over $3 billion at the time. And so he didn't have the money to outbid the other family, and he wasn't in the whole equities thing at that time.
Thank God he didn't win. Oh God, because you see what happened there with $4.5 billion.
Oh yeah. That new family went in and they were all in on Russell Wilson. See how that turned out.
So let's hope we're on the right path. Let's hope, we get 8 or 9 games this year. I that's a huge improvement over last year. So
all right. Well, there you go, Large Sarge. That is the Commanders. We went over a lot of good stuff. And we will be going. This is the last regular show that we're going to do, because come next Monday, we are live streaming, baby. And we want all of you guys to participate. We want your fingers moving. We want you interactive. Tell a friend. Tell everybody that you could possibly know about this channel, because we're going to push it like mad. And we want to see some people on here communicating with us.
100%. Live.
We are going live, Large Sarge.
Live.
All right, guys. This is Football Psyche. We are out of here.
Woo.